Yo, what's cracking everyone? Ericship 111 here. So recently in Forza Horizon 4, Update 8 just got released, and a new playlist known as the Drift Adventure seems to have arrived with huge praise and lots of popularity. And if you haven't tried it out for yourself, I suggest you all give it a go. However, if you are someone like me who isn't necessarily a drifter and kind of don't know what class races they have, well, there are 4 predetermined categories chosen at random before you join a lobby. And if you are someone that would like to give Drift Adventure a go but kind of feel a little bit intimidated because you don't know what cars to choose, well, in this video I'll be showing you 7 best cars you must have for Drift Adventure. Now, before I begin, all of these cars that I will be showing you aren't tuned by myself, as I know many people either do not know how to tune or can't be bothered spending the time to tune like myself, so all of the tunes will be shown as to where you could download them as well. So I'm going to start off with the first class, and that is the rear wheel drive B-A Class. Number 1, the 1993 Nissan 240SX SE. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you, the lower class cars for me are not my strong point for drifting. I feel a lot more comfortable drifting around in much higher class cars, whether it's all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. But here's a good start when it comes to choosing a car and actually applying a tune for a relatively good setup. Now, the car itself actually doesn't have that much horsepower, only at 587 horsepower, so with a much longer track, it may potentially suffer, but if you see on the screen, although it may be slower, it still managed to be able to get a decent amount of points for every single lap. Also, I know that the PI isn't fully maxed out at A800, which could potentially be a downside of this tune, because that means more modifications could have been done to make the car more equipped for that class, potentially more power, which is always better. But overall, this is a solid tune for a 240SX, and certainly a drift car that can help you learn more about drifting. Number 2, the 1988 BMW M5 Forza Edition. Alright, so this is another alternative, perhaps the best stock drift car that you can have for this class, and I put this car on the list is because it's a straight jump into a lobby car. No tuning or modification is required, as being a Forza Edition car, it already has modifications done to it, and with a PI rating of A800, it's not a bad beginner's car to get a feel of the lobby when you're entering your first drift adventure. However, with that said, don't expect to really get into the top 5 with the BMW. I have tried multiple times and it's very difficult when you have some very decent drifters in the lobby, which of course is why I suggested the Nissan 240SX SE, because in all honesty, it is much better as a drift car. But like I said, this is a straight jump into a lobby vehicle just to get a feel of drift adventure. Certainly a must car to have if you are lazy. And now we move over to the all-wheel drive B to A Class. Number 3, the 1994 Mazda MX-5 Miata. Now, the Miata has always been a great car for drifting. However, with an all-wheel drive conversion, it's a little bit unusual to see. However, because the car is so light, maneuvering the car around the circuit and throwing them into corners is very easy to do. And because the car is so small, the margin of error is a lot bigger to go off track. Therefore, there's actually more road for you to gain more points. And because this does have an all-wheel drive layout, spinning out is generally pretty hard to do, as it is easier to drift all-wheel drive than it is rear-wheel drive. This car has over 700 brake horsepower, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get any footage of me using this car in a drift adventure, as those lobbies readily appeared for me during the time I was recording, but I can assure you that this car is a competitive build. Now, for those who might be wondering, what car can I use that is completely stock for this class? And honestly, I'm sorry to say that I couldn't find one. Next, we will move over to the rear wheel drive class S1 to S2. Number 4, we have the 118 Nissan 240SX Formula Drift. So this one is a bone stock car that I have chosen if you are lazy and can't be bothered with modifying or tuning your car, and it's actually quite competitive Given that it already is built as a drift car, the setup is perfect to just jump into one of the S1 to S2 rear-wheel drive lobbies and begin to dominate if you have decent car control. For me, I find these car classes to be a lot easier, as even though you are going a lot faster, there's more room for error in regards to momentum, because you are drifting corners at much higher speeds than an A-class vehicle. Therefore, if you don't distribute the weight correctly of the car around certain corners, it's not going to show as much as it would in a slower car. The only downside is that you must either have the car pass or Formula Drift car pack to access this car, but in all honesty, it's worth it to get this car pack just so you can drive this car. Anyways, lots of fun, and it's a good way to introduce yourself into the drifting if you are new, particularly with proper drift vehicles. Number 5, the number 43 Dodge Viper SRT10. Under the same class, this is another Formula Drift car you can choose, which stock-wise, it's already pretty good. However, the Viper is notoriously known to being one of the best drift cars in the game. So this particular one that I'm showing you has a great tune on it. It now has 1737 horsepower, still of course rear wheel drive, with a PI index of S1 887. Now for rear wheel drive cars, rarely you will find a lobby with any that even reach the S2 class, so being at S1 is completely fine for this class. And as you can see on the gameplay right now, I am dominating the lobby with the Viper, and I don't even claim myself to remotely be good at drifting at all. I'm unsure what magic has been put into this tune, but it certainly feels very easy to drift with. And one tip I can give you guys is 4th and 5th gear will be used the most for many of its corners, and for extremely long corners, you even might be able to get away with using 6th gear. And I can promise you, if you're someone who is new to drifting and kind of getting the hang of how to control the car, this will be the perfect tune for you to give it a shot and potentially win a few races. Now we move over to the final class, the all-wheel drive S1 to S2 class. Number 6, the Hoonigan Gymkhana 10 Hoonicorn Mustang. I just want to emphasize that you can also use the other Hoonicorn as well, and it will be nearly identical in terms of performance. But for me, I chose this Hoonicorn as the all-wheel drive class drift car with no tuning required. When it comes to all-wheel drive drifting and scoring points in Drift Adventure, the more horsepower generally means it's easier and better for scoring points. So with the Hoonicorn, it's a car with 1400 brake horsepower, designed and built to drift, so really no tuning is needed to just jump into an online lobby and easily be competitive as well. And lastly, number 7, the number 25 Ford Mustang RTR. Alright, this is my favorite drift car I have so far. Certainly the most dominating car I have right now, and it has been heavily modified with this particular tune right here by Ken Block's son, holding 1876 brake horsepower, which is over 400 horsepower more than the already powerful Hoonicorn. So you can imagine just how much more points you can achieve in just one lap with this car. Everything has truly been tuned to perfection, and because it's so powerful, it doesn't take much throttle to get the momentum of this car, whether it's through tight chicanes or even long bends. The only downside to this tune is that I would love to have seen all the gears at 1 gear lower, if you kind of know what I mean. So first gear should be second gear should be third gear, and so on. And I say this because I often feel at times when I'm accelerating really fast and I'm at a top speed, and then here comes a super slow sharp corner, turning and downshifting into first gear sometimes just isn't low enough to enter the drift and exit smoothly. But that's really the only complaint that I do have, which can easily be combated if you have remarkable car control. But overall, this is by far the best drift car that I have so far, and I haven't even tuned it myself. So there we have it, guys, 7 drift cars that you must have in Forza Horizon 4 for drift adventures. If you guys did find this video helpful, please make sure to smash the thumbs up button. That would really help me out. Also, if you would like to see more Forza Horizon 4 content right here on this channel, please make sure to click the subscribe button with notifications turned on. That way you won't ever miss out on another video that goes live. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.